Welcome to another episode of the Online Prosperity Experience podcast. You're about to hear your host, Prosper Taravinga's powerful digital marketing strategies and actionable tactics that you can use right now. Prosper has helped more than 50,000 people from over 10 countries to create meaningful businesses that are profitable and enjoyable. Listen to this podcast so that you too can build your own business with less stress and overwhelm. Let's get started.
But Prosper, I don't know how to find opportunities. Well, let me tell you something. You actually do. You already do. It's just that you're not aware of it, or you're not actively working on finding them. Once you know who your ideal target market is, you will be able to create a business that's profitable and enjoyable. Now, let me be upfront and say, the goal of every coach, consultant, and small business owner is to get more clients and customers and actually generate more revenue and grow their online business. And I assume that's also the goal that you have. Otherwise, you wouldn't be listening to our podcast or following, our blogs or reading any of our content. But how can you actually achieve this goal of getting more customers? And what is it that you should do in order for you to scale and grow your online business? What I know that you need above all else is an actionable digital marketing strategy that actually works and is proven for you to get results, because we need to be going out there selling our consulting, our training, our information, our expertise, and getting paid speaking gigs. All right. And obviously, you're going to need a detailed action plan with the right steps that you should take in order for you to get all of the above, and also to get you to start creating a business that's profitable and enjoyable. And we've always been giving you the Online Prosperity Blueprint, which is an actual powerful system that you can use right now, which is guaranteed for you to get success. So remember, when we started the podcast, I, asked you if you actually knew how to find opportunities when they show up at your doorstep. Now, let me ask you a question. Does this actually sound like your business at the current moment, that you're spending most of your days working isolated by yourself on a computer, maybe in a dark room, just so you can avoid putting the light on, just in case it adds to your electricity bill? Or do you spend the last moments on your pillow at night worried about how you're going to get clients? Or do you actually feel the pinch of the rising ad costs? Or are you actually afraid that if another lockdown comes in, this will be the end of you or your business or whatever you've been creating so far? Or do you actually worry about losing all your clients because everything has been closed or is shut down and you have no way, or they have no access to you? Or do you actually chase potential clients, asking them if they've read your proposal yet, or do you have clients ghosting you without just being honest, saying, you know what, I'm in or I'm out, or reach out to us at a later date? Or do you have clients going to somebody else just because they're cheaper? Well, let me tell you something, man. Growing your own business is tough. I know you've been cold calling potential clients and having them hang up in your face, or you're sending hundreds and thousands of emails without getting as much as a thank you for reaching out. And you're wasting thousands of dollars on ad spend without even generating any qualified leads. Sometimes it might just feel like no one wants to buy what you're selling. And when you rely on your business to pay rent and put food on the table, it can put an enormous strain on your emotions. And obviously, you will be terrified of having to maybe give up on your dreams and maybe have to return to the safety of a 9-to-5 job with your tail tucked between your legs, and only because you can't bring in new clients. Well, let me tell you something. If you want to create a business that's profitable and enjoyable, you are going to have to learn to generate new clients on a consistent basis. Just maybe if you're working with a team or you've got a team of salespeople, just telling your team or salespeople to just go out and sell is unlikely to actually work. For in reality, the question is, who should they sell to? Do you absolutely know who needs your information right now? Do you know who your ideal customer is? Do you know who's already buying whatever services that you're putting out there, the consulting that you're putting out there? Do you already know who is craving for that information right now? Do you know, when you do find these people, how to encourage them to buy from you, or to influence them to want to work with you for long times? At the end of the day, who knows you? Who knows what you're capable of? Right? Because I'm here to tell you that there are a lot of people that want what you're selling, even though you might not know about it. People are looking for belonging, people are looking for connection, and people are looking for peace of mind and status. And I suppose if you're a coach or consultant, that is one thing that you provide in abundance. So when you ask me, I don't know how to find these opportunities, and I answer back to you and I say, actually, you do. Because you already do right now. It's just that you're not aware of it and you're not actively working to find these opportunities, or you don't know what they look like if they showed up at your doorstep. And the good news is you can actually learn how to do this better, cheaper, and more consistently. And that's what we teach, with the Online Prosperity Blueprint. And that's how you and your business can actually compete with the bigger players out there. Because I know the biggest problem that you might have right now is, as an entrepreneur or coach or consultant, marketing is just one aspect of running a successful business. Going from hiring to managing new staff, the salespeople that you're going to be sending out there to sell for you, and then balancing the books when the sales are made, and then driving more growth and more. It feels like a constant balancing act where you're pulled in multiple different directions all at once. At the end of the day, your real goal is just to help your clients. You just want to spend as much time as possible changing people's lives and solving people's problems. You don't want to waste countless hours each week tinkering, with the complex world of online marketing or looking for customers. And you certainly don't want to spend yet another minute on the phone having to beg people to hire your services. Fortunately, you don't have to. I don't. But I still have a long list of clients of people who want to work with me. And it's not because I'm a genius. It's not because I'm a master of persuasion either. It's because I follow a simple system that works. Find the right kind of people with the right kind of pain and sell them things that they want. You just need to learn how to spot them. Many years ago, when I was on my reading crusade, I read a terrific book by Wilbur Smith. I don't know if you've read any of his book. And the book that I was reading is called The Burning Shore. The reason why this book resonated with me and why I'm always thinking about it is because it was set up in Africa, and I actually did the trek of going to the Namib Desert, where... although the story by Wilbur Smith was fictional, it's a story about a beautiful young French aristocrat lady, Centiane, I think was the name, Centiane, yes. And she is on her way to South Africa on board a First World War hospital ship, where the ship actually did the Titanic. It torpedoed and it shipwrecked. And she ends up on a burning vastness of the Namib skeleton coast, miles and weeks away from any form of rescue. All right. Now, the reason why this story resonates a lot with me, because when I was growing up, there was a teacher who came to my school, because I was born in a small town, in Zimbabwe, in Africa. And for us, growing up, life was pretty tough. And I had no money and any hope that I would amount to anything. And My life changed when a bright-eyed Australian teacher came to work at my school, and she told me all about Australia, and that now became the anchor that made me want to be more, do more, and have more. So I likened my Australian teacher to Santiago, who came in on this ship that shipwrecked, and I was wishing that I was just thinking, what if that was my teacher who shipwrecked, and eventually I wouldn't have been able to meet her. So I love how Wilbur Smith tells the story of how Santian handles her challenge. It is wonderful. The story is a great analogy to the pain and grief that a lot of businesses find themselves in. All right. So Santian needs to find food and water to survive. And businesses need customers and sales to survive. Because without that, how are you going to be able to grow and pay your bills and actually eventually have a business that's profitable and enjoyable? So neither could find what they needed. Santian was looking for food and water. Businesses are looking for water to survive. Now, Santian is stumbling upon this skeleton coast in modern day Namibia now. And on one side of this Atlantic Ocean, the southern part of Atlantic Ocean, it's just filled with salt water, which you cannot drink. So that meant she was getting thirsty and she couldn't actually, find any sustenance or something to quench her thirst. And in the Atlantic, there's dangerous sharks that are in there. So anything that could possibly kill her, she was facing it at this particular moment. And on the other side, of the desert lies thousands of miles of hot, dry desert sand where there's no food or shelter in sight. So there was no water and no food that could be found there either. So she got so hungry, and apparently she ended up eating dead fish, which had been washed up on the beach. And in the process, all of that fish started making her sick and even more dehydrated because you can't drink salt water. So she actually collapsed and is almost on the verge of dying when an elderly couple find her, just out of luck. And this elderly couple was walking on foot in the middle of nowhere. And I don't know if you know about the San, the Bushmen, people of the Kalahari Desert. These people can walk for miles and they are trained to find water and shelter. And they know their lay of the land and they know how to find sustenance and maybe dig for water and things like that. So they dig down in the sand on the beach, and a matter of inches below Santine's feet, there was ample amount of water that they could draw in, and they were able to store some of the water in an ostrich egg, which was plugged with just wood in order for it to not leak out. And then Santine survives. So this elderly couple know the lay of the land and they know where to find food sources, and Santine is just a newcomer who does not. Okay, and it doesn't mean that food and water was not there. Santine just did not know how to find this food and water. And from then on, Santine neither goes hungry nor thirsty. You know why? Because that vein of water and that food has been brought to her by people who understand and know how to work with the environment that they were in. So this is the same as in business. I'm sorry if I butchered this story, but it's in essence, Santine was washed off, after a shipwreck, and then she couldn't survive up until she was rescued by a couple of bushmen that had lived in the desert all their lives. So they know how to find food and water. And this is exactly what's happening in business right now. You have to know the environment in which to look for opportunities. You have to know what a good opportunity looks like when it shows up at your doorstep. Because if you don't think that this story works, consider how many cars are driving around right now with no lights, at dusk and at dawn. When I saw this, it surprised me how we don't notice a lot of things if we don't bring attention to them. It's called the reticular activated system. All right. So about these cars, there are many of them. They are there all the time. They have been there all the time, and yet up until this point, you probably have not thought about it, and they were not visible to you. But yet they are there. And of now, you'll actually start to see them and count how many people are driving without their lights on. Because if you're not noticing it, you won't pay attention to it. And especially these days where we have daylights or angel lights, how many cars do you no longer notice that their lights are on just because it is now a common feature? I used to see it all the time. I think it was BMW that started with these lights that people drive around with at daylight, and then they forget to put on their actual lights at night. These people are everywhere. You need to train yourself to see them and then act. Taking action is just as important as actually seeing them and taking note of what's around you. I've seen so many of my clients being handed opportunities on a plate, but they acknowledge as not being appropriate for them because they're not polished up enough to look like a customer, whereas you probably need to walk somebody up until they're ready to work with you. A lot of people don't act fast enough, and sometimes don't act at all when an opportunity passes by them. Oops, there it is. It's gone. Heaven forbid. I've been guilty of this myself. When I first came to Australia, I knew no one. All right. And I'm not going to lie. It was tough at first. I was so far away from my family, and I struggled to find regular work to pay my bills. And I was even evicted from my apartment in Richmond. I was really at my lowest point. But you know what? I never gave up. Because I remembered the advice that I got from my Australian teacher that I mentioned earlier on, that as long as you're willing to work hard, there will always be hope. And I knew I was going to succeed, and I had to roll up my sleeves and take my opportunity when it presented itself. The way my opportunity came in, if I had been somebody else, I would not have recognized, because you cannot connect the dots looking forward. You can always connect the dots looking backwards. When my big break came, it would have been a phone call that I ignored. I was sitting at home, wallowing in my, in my sorrows. And I had a roommate by that time, and he was working for a company in the city. And then he rang me up and he's like, "Prosper, what are you up to?" And I'm like, "I'm just sitting at home. I was hoping to go and rent a movie or something and then just watch and whatnot, And it's like, run to the city if you can, because we had a model that did not show up for our photo shoot. And I was like, I was not ready. He's like, "Nah, come on, just come." And, I just kept, giving excuses. And that's when I started realizing that excuses only sound best to the person that's saying them. So I went for this gig. It was a chance modeling gig that was set up by one of my roommates. And when I got there, the photographer was like, "Oh my God, you're such a natural at doing this. Why don't you continuously do this? Here's my card." And, in the modeling industry, there's what's called TFP, which basically means time for print. And he's like, "You know what? We can exchange you, with your different look. And, I will give you photos so you can enhance your profile." And I just started doing this up until I got so serious with this, I was actually signed by a modeling company. And I actually went on to be one of the most recognized faces in the modeling scene in Melbourne because of this agency that I was signed by. And before I knew it, I was actually now starting to rub shoulders with A-listers and celebrities at VIP parties, only because I took advantage of an opportunity that was presented to me. First of all, it looked like a lot of work and it looked like a lot of effort, but it opened up so many other opportunities for me. So imagine how many clients are coming to you with inquiries and asking you to help them with certain things that you look at and think they are of a little bit of value to yourself. Because if somebody shows up to your business and asks you something, you need to ask yourself, what can I learn from this? What is really good about this problem? Is it because I haven't put out information out there? Is it because I haven't put out a podcast out there to answer these questions? And then start asking yourself, because this person has come in and they're not the right person for me, what is not perfect yet in my sales process? Because had I ignored that chance modeling gig, I wouldn't have actually gotten to where I am, because when I got into the modeling scene, I started noticing that some models were not being paid for their work. And then I started creating opportunities, connecting photographers and models. And then I noticed again that these models, once the work has been done, the photographs have been taken, the businesses that we're working with are not fully marketing those photos. And then I threw myself in a line of work which now became digital marketing, only because I answered a call that led me to something, and it opened up my eyes to what was missing in a whole industry. So when somebody reaches out to you and they're not your ideal person, just ask yourself, what can I learn from this? And what is actually great about this problem that they're presenting to me? Is it an opportunity for me to create content for this so that I will have, the right kind of people with the right kind of pain coming towards me and my business? Because whatever your business model, you will always need one very important thing: a steady flow of new clients and customers. And that's really the most important thing, for scaling and growing your online business. The more clients you get, the more successful your online business is going to be. And without clients, you will have no business. So if you're having people inquiring, ask yourself, what am I willing to do to make it the way I want it? What am I willing to create for so I can relate to the ideal market that I want to work with in the future? Because there are a lot of ways of building a business online, but most of them involve the one hard to get thing: clients. A steady flow of new customers is a key for you to have a successful and profitable online business. And unfortunately, getting more clients is one of the most stressful and anxiety-inducing struggles every single business owner has to go through. Just like our French aristocrat lady Saint-Anne in the book The Burning Show. She was sitting on top of water and food. She just didn't know how to harness it in order for it to work for her. You're sitting on answers that your customers are questioning right now. All you need to do is, find out how you can actually help others by actually helping them. And the biggest way is, what is it that you're actually embarrassed with right now? And what are you struggling with and what are you doing about it? Because that is who your ideal customer is. Because if you got answers to that, imagine how many other people are looking for those, that information so that they too can have a happier existence. Because once you have a steady flow of customers, that now becomes the key to a successful and profitable online business. So the first thing that you need to do to get new customers, you need to attract them to your business. How do you do that? By creating the right kind of content that answers the right questions and solves their problems. We've worked and partnered with more than 450 businesses, and it all started from me recognizing that, models are not actually being represented in the marketplace. And how did all of that connect? Now we've been nominated for multiple awards, including a Network of the Year and Marketing Agency of the Year. But all of this pales in comparison to the success that I've actually achieved for my own customers. I want you to discover how you can grow your business by just looking at what's beneath your feet. Cynthia didn't know what to do. She was almost dying, eating dead fish. Yet the San Bushmen of the Kalahari Desert knew the lay of the land and where to find food. And then they helped her. And then she survived. You know? So you might be walking around looking for warm leads, but how about those people that are asking questions? Are they in your email list? Are they in your pipeline? Are you creating information for them? How are you attracting them to your business so that you get them ready for when they are ready to actually work with you? What information are you putting out there to encourage them, and to actually educate them while providing them with value? Because we get paid in direct proportion to the value that we bring to the marketplace. So are you still asking, oh, sorry, I don't know how to find these opportunities? You need to get people interested in your products and services and get them to know, like, and trust you by positioning yourself in front of your ideal target market. But first, do you actually know who your ideal client is? Do you know what their desired outcome is? And can your product or service satisfy their needs? So the first step to any successful marketing strategy is to identify who your ideal client is, and don't make the mistake for marketing to everyone. It's the same mistake that coaches, consultants, and small business owners are making when they're marketing their products and services. They don't realize that everyone is not their customer. So to have a successful online business, you must target the right kind of people with the right kind of pain and who know the kind of payoff that they're after. So to make sure that you're targeting the right clients for your business, ask yourself this question: who can benefit the most from my products and services? Now just think about it. Because if you're not talking to the right people, your marketing message is not going to be effective, because people do not listen to marketing that is not directed at them. And they don't maybe need the solution or whatever product or service that you're offering. And perhaps they don't even have the problem that you want to solve. So what do you do instead? How do you find the perfect client for your business? In order for you to find your ideal client, you've got to create what's called a customer avatar. And a customer avatar is just a method where you've designed to help you understand your ideal client and know where they are right now, who they are, where they live, and how old they are, etc. And the more you know about your ideal client, the more effective your marketing message will be. And like I said, people will never stop to listen to marketing that is not designed for them. So you want to try to research and understand the needs, the desires, whatever pain points your ideal clients might have, and you have to uncover their real pains, their wants, their desires before you even proceed to any other steps that you might be going through in your marketing journey. This then becomes the basic foundation to a successful marketing strategy. Because when you can describe your customer's pain better than they can, they will definitely assume that you've got the solution. Remember when we started the podcast, I was outlining to you, what you might be going through, even if you might not understand. But I know that if you took 2 months from today, you wouldn't have a business to come back to. I know that you are always chasing potential clients, asking them if they've read your proposals. And one thing you shouldn't be doing in this day and age is sending out proposals to people you haven't spoken to. Because how do you know what it is that they're looking for? So create that customer avatar so it can help you structure your marketing message, and then it helps you develop, consistency in what you're going to be saying. Because once you know who you're talking to, it makes it super, super easy for you to actually craft your message and clarify your message, because you know exactly who you're talking to. Ndikatanga kutaura nechirudzi chausinganzwi ungandinzwa here. Ibaba handaasi kutonzwa kuti ndiri kuti kudii handiti. Obviously, in the last 2 seconds, you didn't understand what I was saying, because that is a language that you don't understand. And maybe that's how you're speaking to your audience right now. Because when you fully understand your perfect client, it's easier to answer, the questions that they might have. And you would know what sort of ads you need to put out there. You know what language and vocabulary would appeal to them the most. You would know what traffic sources you want to use to reach them. And you would know their actual desired outcome. So in a nutshell, you definitely start knowing who you're talking to. And imagine for a moment that you're only talking and doing business with people who really need what you want, and want your services, and they're ready to buy instantly. Isn't that what you want? That would be really cool, wouldn't it? Go out there and identify your target market, reach out to them, and you will discover how to grow a business that's profitable and enjoyable. I can't wait to congratulate you at the finish line when you've established who you are and who you really want to be speaking to. Bye for now.
Thank you for joining us today. If you have any questions, let's continue the conversation in the Live Long Digital community. Become a Live Long Digital community member today. This community is for ambitious entrepreneurs and small business owners with the drive to take control of the future of their businesses and achieve huge success without stress and overwhelm. As you heard, Prosper can help you by teaching you marketing strategies that work. So look no further than the Live Long Digital community of entrepreneurs and highly successful business owners. Join our community today. Find us on www.community.livelongdigital.com.au. Network with other driven entrepreneurs and find the expert guidance you need to take your business to the next level. www.community.livelongdigital.com.au.